Live performances in the Gallo Center for the Arts are still on hold for now, but we will continue to bring you virtual theater performances online. You may have to use your imagination from time to time. For instance, Modesto's 7th Street Bridge has to serve as the Brooklyn Bridge in our story. Photoshop was sometimes used to eliminate modern-day elements. We did some location shots, observing social distancing. We even used a real 1941 Cadillac in front of a green screen for some shots, thanks to the car's owner, Paul Corgett. Sophisticated viewers like yourself will notice discrepancies here and there, but we hope you enjoy our efforts.
Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of the Gallo Center Repertory Company's virtual theater series. I'm Jim Johnson, your host. Our latest production is titled The Hitchhiker by Louise Fletcher. Immediately after her marriage in October 1939 to composer Bernard Herrmann, Fletcher and Herrmann left New York for Hollywood, where Herrmann was to begin work on the score of Orson Welles' first feature film, Citizen Kane. They traveled cross-country several times by air and train, but their most memorable trip was made in 1940 with Herrmann driving their Packard convertible. Fletcher writes, "I saw an odd-looking man, first on the Brooklyn Bridge and then on the Pulaski Skyway. We never saw him again," she said. However, she didn't quite know what to do with the idea until a year later, when she conceived the idea of doing a ghost story. In the 1940s, Orson Welles adapted the story for his show on CBS Radio. It was performed to great acclaim. Over the years, it has been performed in various media, including a masterful television version on The Twilight Zone in the 1960s. Our latest version of The Hitchhiker is performed by Sankofa Theater Company, Modesto's own African-American troupe of actors. Sankofa Theater Company and the Gallo Center have collaborated on numerous theater productions, including The Piano Lesson, Freedom Riders, Fences, A Raisin in the Sun, and 7 Guitars. And now, The Hitchhiker.
I'm in a motel parking lot on Route 66, just west of Gallup, New Mexico. If I tell it, maybe it'll help me. It'll keep me from going crazy. But I must tell this quickly. I am not crazy now. I feel perfectly well. Perfectly well, except I'm running a slight fever. My name is Ronald Adams. I'm 36 years of age, unmarried, tall, dark, with a black mustache. I drive a 1941 Cadillac. I was born in Brooklyn. All this I know. I know I'm at this moment perfectly sane. That it is not me that's gone mad, but something else, something utterly beyond my control. But I must speak this quickly. At any moment, the link with life may break. This may be the last thing I ever tell on earth, the last night I ever see the stars. 6 days ago, I left Brooklyn to drive to California.
Goodbye, son. Good luck to you, my boy.
Goodbye, Mother. Here, give me a kiss and then I'll go.
I'll just come out with you to the car.
It's raining. Stay here at the door. Hey, what's this? Tears?
Oh, it's just a trip, Ronald. I wish you weren't driving.
Oh, Mother, there you go again. People do it every day.
I know. But you'll be extra careful, won't you? Promise me you'll be extra careful. Don't fall asleep or drive too fast or pick any strangers up on the side of the road.
Strangers. Don't you worry. There ain't nothing gonna happen. It's just 8 days of perfectly simple driving on smooth, decent, civilized roads. With a hot dog or hamburger stand every 10 miles. I was in excellent spirits. Even the loneliness seemed like a lark. Crossing the Brooklyn Bridge that morning in the rain, I saw a man standing on the walkway. He seemed to be waiting for a lift. There were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. He was carrying a cheap overnight bag in one hand. He was average build, nondescript with a cap pulled down over his eyes. He stepped off the curb, and if I hadn't swerved, I'd have hit him. I almost did hit him. Now I would have forgotten him completely, except that just an hour later, while crossing the Pulaski Skyway over the Jersey Flats, I saw him again. At least he looked like the same person. He was standing now with one thumb pointing west. I couldn't figure out how he got there, but I thought maybe one of those fast trucks had picked him up, beat me to the Skyway and let him off. I didn't stop for him. Then late that night, I saw him again. It was on the new Pennsylvania Turnpike between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. It's 265 miles long with a very high speed limit. I was just slowing down for one of the tunnels when I saw him standing under the streetlight by the side of the road. I could see him quite distinctly, the bag, the cap, even the spots of fresh rain spattered over his shoulders. He hailed me this time.
Hello.
I stepped on the gas like a shot. It's a lonely country through the Alleghenies. I had no intention of stopping. Besides, the coincidences or whatever it was gave me the willies. I stopped at the next gas station.
Yes, sir.
Fill her up, will you?
Check your oil?
No, thanks.
Nice night, ain't it?
Yes. It hasn't been raining here lately, has it?
Not a drop of rain all week.
Oh no? I suppose that hasn't done your business any harm.
No. People drive through here in all kinds of weather. Mostly business, though. Ain't many pleasure cars out on the turnpike this time of the year.
I guess not. What about hitchhikers?
Hitchhikers? Here?
Why? What's the matter? Don't you ever see any?
A guy'd be a fool to start out hitchhiking on this here road. Look at it.
You mean you never see anybody?
No. Maybe they get a lift before the turnpike starts. I mean, before the toll house. But then it's a mighty long ride. Most cars wouldn't pick up a guy for that long a ride. This is pretty lonesome country here. Mountains and woods. You ain't seen nobody like that, have you?
Oh, no. It's just a technical question.
Oh, I see. That'd be $1.49 plus tax.
The thing gradually passed from my mind as a coincidence. I had a good night's sleep in Pittsburgh. I didn't think about the man all the next day until just out of Zanesville, Ohio, I saw him again. It was a bright, sunshiny afternoon. The peaceful Ohio fields, brown with the autumn stubble, lay dreaming in the golden light. I was driving slowly, drinking it in when the road suddenly ended in a detour. In front of the barrier, he was standing. Let me explain about his appearance before I go on. There was nothing sinister about it. He was as drab as a mud fence, nor was his attitude menacing. He merely stood there waiting, almost drooping a little, the cheap overnight bag in his hand. He looked as though he'd been waiting there for hours, and he hailed me, started to walk forward.
Going to California?
No, not today. I'm going to New York. Sorry. After I got the car back on the road again, I felt like a fool. Yet the thought of picking him up, of having him sit beside me was somehow unbearable. Yet at the same time, I felt more than ever unspeakably alone. Hour after hour went by. The fields, the towns, ticked off one by one. The lights changed. I knew now that I was going to see him again. And though I dreaded the sight, I caught myself searching the side of the road, waiting for him to appear.
Henry!
Yeah, what is it? What do you want?
You sell sandwiches and pop here, don't you?
Yeah, we do in the daytime, but we're closed for the night.
I know, but I was wondering if you could possibly let me have a cup of coffee, black coffee.
Not at this time of the night, mister. My wife's the cook, and she's in bed.
Well, now listen. Just a minute ago, there was a man standing here, right beside here, and a suspicious looking man.
Henry! Who is it, Henry?
It's nobody, Mother. It's just a fella just wants a cup of coffee. Go on back to bed.
I don't mean to disturb you, but you see, I was driving along when I just happened to look, and there he was.
What was he doing?
Nothing.
You've been hitting the bottle. That's what's the matter with you. You ain't got nothing better to do than wake decent folks up out of their hard-earned sleep. Now get going. Get on.
It looked as though he was going to rob you.
I ain't got nothing here to lose. Now on your way before I call Sheriff Polks.
I got into the car again and drove on slowly. I was beginning to hate the car. If I could have found a place to rest a little, but I was in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri now. The few resort places there were closed. I had seen him at that roadside stand. I knew I'd see him again, maybe at the next turn in the road. I knew that when I saw him next, I'd run him down. But I didn't see him again until late the next afternoon. I stopped the car at a sleepy little junction just across the border into Oklahoma to let a train pass by when he appeared across the tracks. He was leaning against a telephone pole. It was a perfectly airless, dry day. The red clay of Alabama was baking under the southwestern sun. Yet, there were spots of rain on his shoulders. I couldn't stand that. Without thinking, blindly, I started across his tracks. He didn't even look up at me. He was staring at the ground. I stepped on the gas hard, veering the wheel sharply toward him. I could hear the train in the distance now, but I didn't care. Then, something went wrong with the car. It stalled right on the tracks. The train was coming closer. I could hear his bell, its whistle crying. Still, he stood there. Now I knew that he was beckoning me to my death. Well, I frustrated him that time. The car started. It started at last. I managed to back it up just in time. But after train passed, he was gone. And I was all alone in the hot, dry afternoon. After that, I knew I had to do something. I didn't know who this man was or what he wanted of me. I only knew that from now on, I mustn't let myself be alone on the road for 1 minute.
Hello there. Hello. Like a ride? What do you think? How far are you going?
Amarillo. I'll take you to Amarillo.
Amarillo, Texas?
Yeah, I'll drive you there. Hop in.
Gee. Hey, mind if I take off my shoes? My dogs are killing me.
No, go right ahead. Hitchhike much?
Sure. It's only tough sometimes in these great open spaces to get the brakes.
Yeah, I think it would be. But I bet, though, if you got a good pickup in a fast car, you could get to places faster than, well, say another person in another car.
I don't get you.
Well, you take me, for instance. Suppose I'm driving across the country at a nice steady clip of about 45 miles an hour. Couldn't a girl like you, just standing beside the road, waiting for lifts, beat me to town after town, provided she got picked up every time in a car that was doing 65 or 70 miles an hour?
I don't know. Maybe she could, maybe she couldn't. What difference does it make?
Oh, no difference. It's just a crazy idea I had in my head.
Oh, imagine spending all your time in a swell car thinking of things like that.
What would you do instead?
What would I do? If I was a good-looking fellow like yourself, I'd just enjoy myself every minute of the time. I'd sit back, relax, and if I saw a good-looking girl along the road... Hey!
Did you see him too?
See who?
That man! Standing right beside the barbed wire fence!
I didn't see anybody!
Right there!
It was nothing. Just a barbed wired fence. What do you think you're doing trying to run into that barbed wired fence?
There was a man, I tell you. A thin gray man with an overnight bag in his hand. I was trying to run him down.
Run him down? You mean kill him?
I'm trying to get rid of him, or at least prove that he's real. But you say you didn't see him back there. You sure?
I didn't see a soul. And as far as that's concerned...
Well, watch for him. Watch for him the next time and keep watching. Keep your eyes peeled on the road. He'll turn up again. Maybe any minute now. There! Right there!
No! How's this door work? I'm getting out of here.
Did you see him that time? Did you see him?
No, I didn't see him, and that time, and personally, mister, I don't expect to never see him. All I want to do is go on living, and I don't see how I will much longer driving with you.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please don't go.
So if you'll excuse me.
Please, you can't go. Listen, how'd you like to go to California? I'll drive you all the way to California.
Seeing pink elephants all the way? No thanks.
Listen, please, just 1 minute.
You know what I think you need, big boy? Not a girlfriend, just a good dose of sleep. There. I got it now.
No, you can't go.
Leave your hands off me, you hear? Leave your hands off me.
She ran from me as if I was some kind of monster. A few minutes later, I saw a passing truck pick her up, and I knew then that I was utterly alone. I was in the heart of the great Texas prairies. There wasn't a car on the road after the truck went by. I tried to figure out what to do, how to get a hold of myself. If I could find a place to rest, or even if I could sleep right here in the car, just a few hours, get some sleep just alongside the road. When I saw him coming toward me, emerging from the cow herds of moving cattle. I didn't wait for him to come any closer. Maybe I should have spoken to him then, fought it out then and there. And now he began to be everywhere. Whenever I stopped, even for a minute, for gas, for oil, for a drink of pop, a cup of coffee, a sandwich, he was there. I saw him standing outside the motel in Amarillo that night when I dared to slow down. He was waiting for me outside the Navajo reservation where I stopped to check my tires. I saw him in Albuquerque when I bought 10 gallons of gas. I was afraid now, afraid to stop. I began to drive faster and faster. It was in lunar landscape now, the great arid mesa country of New Mexico. I drove through it with the indifference of a fly crawling over the face of the moon. And now he didn't even wait for me to stop unless I drove at 85 miles an hour over those endless roads. He waited for me at every other mile. I could see his figure, shadowless, flitting before me, still in his same attitude over the still and lifeless ground, flitting over dried up rivers, over broken stones cast up by old glacial upheavals, flitting in the pure and cloudless air. I was beside myself when I finally reached Gallup, New Mexico this morning. There's a motel here. It's a cold, almost deserted this time of year. I went inside the office and asked if there was a telephone. I had the feeling that if I could speak to somebody familiar, somebody that I loved, I could pull myself together.
Number, please.
Long distance?
This is long distance.
I'd like to put in a call to my home in Brooklyn, New York. I'm Ronald Adams. The number is Beechwood 9970.
Thank you. What is your number?
My number? It's 312.
Will you please deposit $3.85 for the first 3 minutes?
I read somewhere that love could banish demons. It was in the middle of the morning. I knew Mother would be home. I pictured her tall, white-haired in her crisp house dress, going about her tasks. It'd be enough, I thought, just to hear the even calmness of her voice.
Ready with Brooklyn. Go ahead, please.
Hello? Mrs. Adams' residence.
Hello, Mother.
This is Mrs. Adams' residence. Who is it that you wish to speak to, please?
Who's this?
This is Mrs. Whitney.
Miss Whitney? What? I don't know any Miss Whitney. Is this Beechwood 9970?
Yes.
Where's my mother? Where's Mrs. Adams?
Mrs. Adams is not at home. She's still in the hospital.
The hospital?
Yes. Who is this calling, please? Is this a member of the family?
What's she in the hospital for?
She's been in the hospital for 5 days. A nervous breakdown. Who is this calling?
Nervous breakdown? My mother doesn't have...
It's all taken place since the death of her oldest son, Ronald.
The death of her oldest son, Ronald? Hey, what is this? What number is this?
This is Beechwood 9970. It's all been very sudden. He was killed 6 days ago in an automobile accident on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Sir, 3 minutes are up.
And so, I'm sitting here in this deserted motel parking lot in Gallup, New Mexico. And so, I'm trying to think. Trying to get a hold of myself. Otherwise I'll go crazy. Outside it is night, the vast soulless night of New Mexico. 1,000,000 stars are in the sky. Ahead of me stretch 1,000 miles of empty mesa and mountains, prairies, desert. Somewhere among them, he's waiting for me. Somewhere. Somewhere I shall know who he is. And who I am.
I believe you're going my way.